What's up everybody, Super fan here for another car review. This is of course a 2015 Cadillac CTS V-Sport. Huge thanks to Cadillac for providing me with this very nice press car to review for you guys today. So about the CTS V-Sport, well, I think these things are stunning. When they first came out last year, I was just amazed with just how striking they look from every single angle too. I mean, that front I think is the absolute best part of it, with those LEDs that run down, and just it looks so menacing. And this color is called Phantom Gray as well, and it looks like a phantom almost. It's just a very, very menacing look, and I love it. But all the other proportions, you know, from the side there, it just looks so elegant and classy, and from the rear, it looks beautiful. And there's all kinds of cool little details in the front headlights as well as the tail lights, and it's just a beautiful car, and I absolutely love the way they look. Right, for the interior of the Cadillac CTS V-Sport, well, it's super nice. I mean, just from an aesthetic standpoint, it's just beautifully designed, especially this one with the tan leather. It looks really nice, and everything's just so upmarket feeling. Like, I feel like I'm sitting in a car that's more expensive than $60,000, which is all that this one is. But anyway, first things first, sitting down in these seats, very nice, soft, comfortable leather seats that are heated and cooled, which is nice. Side bolstering, you know, could be a little bit more aggressive, but you can upgrade seats, I believe, in these. So if you want these sportier seats, I believe that's an option. But I mean, these seats though, they have good thigh support. It's just the torso is a little wide, but I'm an extremely small frame as well. So, you know, I think that people that are average size should fit in these seats pretty well. Another thing about these seats is they have the most comfortable headrests I've ever put my head on. I mean, this is almost as comfortable as my pillow on my bed at home. Like, it's seriously that soft, and for road trips, this would be amazing. So just totally random, but the headrests are just spectacular. Next is the steering wheel in the CTS V-Sport here, which is really nice. It's a sport wheel, really nice, thick and beefy, and the 9-3 grip is pretty good. It's a little bit of a deep dish design, so it's not the best grip in the world, but you do get a pretty good grip up here. 10 and 2 notches though are really large, and then you have just all the nice metal and piano black gloss trim on this steering wheel. It looks really nice. The new Cadillac crest, and it's just, this steering wheel looks like $1 million. You have magnesium shiny paddle shifters here behind that are, I mean, really heavy duty feel. I mean, they're actual metal and they feel like it, and just overall just a super nice wheel. Next is the gauges in the CTS V-Sport, which are pretty nice. So the analog portions for the tachometer, speedometer, and the auxiliary gauges, they're nothing to write home about. I mean, they're nice, they're, you know, pretty attractive, but they're not really super cool. The part that is super cool is the digital portion down there, the lower portion, which is extremely customizable and has all the right gauges. So, you know, like I have it set up with a digital speedometer right there in the middle, and then average fuel economy on the left, and then a boost pressure on the right, because we are dealing with a turbocharged engine here, twin turbo, and so it's great to have a boost gauge. I always love seeing those in cars. And but there's all kinds of information. I mean, there's literally a long list of things that you can put for each of those gauges, and so very customizable, and the more customization the better. So hats off to Cadillac for making that so awesome. Coming along to the center of the dashboard here, this is where you have this capacitive touch screen for everything. So every button is just you know, a light on the screen that you're kind of just touching. It's very futuristic and very cool. I know some people don't like this whole Q, which is the Cadillac user experience thing. I don't have a problem with it though. I mean, it starts with the basic, you know, kind of GM MyLink, Chevy MyLink, and all those. They all are the same family of systems here. They're very straightforward with the different, you know, things for audio, phone, all that kind of stuff. Very straightforward, easy to use. I don't have a problem with that at all. It has really high resolution graphics, and I really like all that. The other thing though is there's one thing about this whole system that I kind of miss, and that is that there's no tune knob. So scrolling through to different stations and stuff, you actually have to touch the screen, but it's cool because you have this haptic feedback that every time you touch the screen it kind of vibrates a little bit, so you know that you're doing something, which is cool to have. And I think it's extremely responsive though. You know, this volume slider down here, you can either press each side to go up one by one, or you can just do a slide and just swipe back and forth to do quicker changes, and that works pretty flawlessly. I mean, every single time I do it, it registers, and it's fairly accurate as well. So I really think it's great. I don't know why people complain about this, because I love it. It's really cool. And all the other controls for the climate and the seats and whatnot are all very nice as well. And just, yeah, overall, I think it's really well done, very logically laid out and easy to use, and I think they did a great job with it. As far as storage space in the CTS V-Sport, it's pretty good. So you have map pockets here on the doors with a tiny little cutaway here for a small bottle that you can fit in there, but not a large bottle holder, but you could probably do something with that. And then come along to the center here, you have a motorized cover for the cup holders, which is very cool, and metal bottoms on the cup holders is really nice as well to help keep your drinks hot or cold. And then you have a little smoker's kind of thing back here where you just have a power outlet and a little felt lined pocket where you would have an ashtray. And then you have the center armrest, which is one thing that I wish was softer. It's actually pretty hard, and especially with how soft the headrests are, I was surprised that the armrest was as hard as it was. But when you open up this center armrest here, this is where you'll find, the two-tiered cubby area that has a power outlet, 2 USB ports, an auxiliary jack, and an SD card slot. So you have tons of hookups there, and it's not super deep, but you can fit a few things in there. The only other thing I want to mention about this is that it only opens towards the driver here. So, for the passenger to get into this area, they can't, because it literally just goes right up and blocks them. But otherwise, nice little cubby there. But that's not it. There's also a cool hidden, GM vehicles always have cool hidden little cubbies like the C7 Corvettes and all those other cars. But with this, whenever you touch this little part down here, this whole thing rises up, and that's where you find your wireless charging pad for your phone. If you have a phone with wireless charging, that'll do that. Very, very cool to have that. Also have another USB jack in there as well, so you can fit, throw an iPod in there or things like that. But yeah, super cool to have that, and yeah, and it's nicely hidden away, and I just love all those little cool cubbies and things like that in cars. It's awesome. Backseat in the CTS is extremely spacious and comfortable. I have probably 5 inches of legroom with me sitting behind myself. I'm 5'9", and so I mean lots and lots of legroom. I mean it's really a ton of legroom. Headroom is also plentiful, so I think you can fit just about anyone of any size back there pretty comfortably, and they're just really nice seats. Trunk space in the CTS is pretty good. It's not the largest trunk I've seen in this segment, but it is a pretty good sized trunk. You can fit a good amount of things in there. I'd say easily probably 3 suitcases, maybe 4, if you really want to load it up, but a pretty good sized trunk, and should be sufficient for hauling around 4 people. All right, so start to go for a drive. Cadillacs here for 2015 have this super nice key fob. I love this thing. It's got a really nice weight to it, but it's very thin and cool, and it doesn't look like any other GM product. Even like Lamborghinis and Audis, they all have Volkswagen key fobs, and so Cadillac has their own key fob here for these, and it just looks super cool. I love it. So anyway, you just leave that in your pocket, though, of course, is a keyless start, and just hit the button. It starts right up. Alright, so setting off from the 2015 Cadillac CTS V-Sport. So, first thing you notice, visibility is very good. Hood drops down nicely, so you really don't even see it. Side visibility and everything's very good. Of course, this car has all kinds of safety technology as well, as far as blind spot monitoring, cross traffic alert, backup cameras, all kind of stuff. So very easy to see out of, and the car will help you with a few things that may be challenging. Alright, so let's turn onto this back road here and see how it does. Got the traction control kicking in because this thing wants to spin the wheels. Woo, okay, so this thing does 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. It's 420 horsepower and 430 pounds-feet of torque, and it gets up and goes quickly. Man, this thing pulls hard. It's a rocket. And so yeah, another thing I can mention right off the bat is it shifts pretty quick. This is an 8-speed automatic transmission, and downshifts are a little slow, I'll say that, but the upshifts are pretty quick and very impressive. And let's do another little acceleration, shall we? That really throws you in the back of your seat. It sounds good. Listen to that. It's a very guttural and aggressive sound, and it sounds really awesome, though. I love it. All right, so we're on one of my new favorite back roads here that's very bumpy and very punishing on a car's suspension setup. And so the first thing I have to say is this car has magnetic ride control, and it does a really good job. It's just really smooth over any types of bumps, really, even the really punishing, jarring stuff that this road has. It really soaks it up well, and it does a really great job. I'm actually impressed compared to some other stuff I've driven on this road. This is quite smooth. Got the manual mode going here, and it just, I mean, it's so sharp and pointed. I mean, there's no body roll, it just goes. This car is just a hair under 4,000 pounds at 3985, so not the lightest car, and you do feel the weight a little bit. That's one thing I can say when I push it, is that I definitely do feel the weight, but it doesn't stop it. This car just handles so phenomenally well, and really tight corners here, and it just grips. I mean, most other cars would totally just wash out right there, and this one just kept on gripping. And the tires aren't like insane either. We're dealing with Pirellis, and they're 245s in the front and 275s in the rear, so not the most aggressive setup either, but it still just really just holds its own, which goes to show just how good the chassis is. I mean, you know, it just, on this tiny little windy road, it just holds its own so well. Lots of little hills and just bumps, and this thing, like I said, this is a really punishing road, and there's a nice good bump there, but this thing just handles this so well. It's really insane. Brakes are really good. We got Brembos up front, and they really just stop this car so well, and just make this a really fun thing to carve up a back road in. Paddle shifters are responsive here as we go down a gear, and this will get the back end going, and it did. But you know, I have it in the standard mode here, so the nannies keep me in line, but it's struggling to keep the power down there a little bit, which is more fun, adds to the drama and excitement. This thing just, if you can't tell, it's just really coming alive out here, and just doing a really good job to really give you an entertaining and really aggressive drive. I'd never driven one of these until today, and it really is just impressive. I really am amazed. But anyway, now we're just cruising along on a more relaxed, better paved part of the road here, and it's just nice to, you know, cruise down the road in, very quiet and smooth. There is a little bit of tire noise that I noticed on some road sections, but aside from that, really a nice, comfortable, luxurious ride, and just a great car that fits anything. You know, if you want to just relax, it can be a nice, comfortable cruiser, but if you want to tear up a back road like I was just doing, it can do that too. It really wears both hats so well. And but anyway, I'm gonna have this car for an entire week, so I'm gonna drive around for a while longer here, and I'll come back next week and give you some updated impressions on what it's like to live with for a week. All right, so I've been driving the CTS V-Sport for about a week now, and it's just such a darn good car. And the bottom line is, it's just so fun. It does everything you want it to do so well, and it's just, I just really like it. You know, I mean, so many people are still kind of skeptical about Cadillac. I don't know why. I think I would definitely take this over all of the Germans. This has a beat on price, and a lot of them beat on power. I mean, a lot of the other ones, you have to go up to their full-on performance lines, which are $100,000 to get even something that's higher performing than this. So it's really an impressive package overall. Some things that I've learned over the week of driving it here. The first is the Cadillac Q system, which everyone loves to hate, and I'll say it's not perfect, but it's not nearly as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It's, you know, it does everything most of the time the way you want it to. Every once in a while it won't, you know, take one of the inputs or whatnot, but you know, overall it does a really good job with it, and I really like it. Another thing while on these corners is the steering wheel grip. Another interior thing is really good whenever you're, you know, doing this kind of driving, but whenever you're just cruising, the 93 grip isn't the most comfortable. Maybe nitpicking, but you know, it's a little bit of an unnatural feeling for your hands, the positioning, but again, like I said, I'm nitpicking here because it's still a really nice wheel. I love how thick and heavily bolstered it is, and it's just beautiful to look at as well. Another thing that's beautiful to look at is this interior lighting at night. It's all LED, and just the way that they kind of painted the light in various places, it's just a really I guess premium feel to it. It's a very high-end and exotic kind of way that they lit it. You know, you normally just have your standard whatever lights, but this car really stood out to me whenever I, you know, opened it up at night for the first time. I was like, wow, they like really did a nice job with the lighting in here. It's just very upscale, and I love it. Another thing about the interior is the seats, which are really nice. And over the week I've been driving, I thought that maybe they'd be a little wider than I'd like, but they really actually held me in perfectly, and even on aggressive cornering and whatnot, I wasn't sliding around or anything, and that's great. One cool thing I forgot to mention about these seats though is that they vibrate based on a few different factors as far as you know, the crash avoidance kind of stuff. So like, you know, if you're backing out of your driveway and there's a car nearby or a car passing, you know, it detects the cross traffic, it'll vibrate that side of the seat. So like someone was coming from the right earlier and I had reverse and I was stopped, but it still saw the car coming from the right and vibrated just the right seat bolster, just to give you a little nudge like, oh hey, you know, pay attention here. You know, a lot of cars just have dummy lights or bells and things like that to warn you. This, it doesn't do any of that. It just vibrates the seat, which I think is far more effective and less annoying. It's a little weird at first, I'll admit, you know, to just have your seat randomly just vibrate aggressively, and you're like, what is going on? But you know, once you get used to it, it's a very intuitive and unique way to get your attention, and I think that that's a really good idea. Another thing that's cool about the CTS is it turns heads. You know, in this field of these, you know, full-size or mid-size luxury cars that all seem to kind of blend together, they're all conservative and mature and grown up. And this one is all of those things as well, but it's also exciting to look at, which I don't think you can say for a lot of the other competitors. And it actually gets looks. People turn their heads. I've had multiple occasions already in this past week where people have looked, and it's not just a certain type. It's been older people. It's been college kids. I mean, a lot of people that are like, wow, that's a sweet looking car. And it just, you know, that was my thought from the very beginning. When I first saw one of these, I was like, wow, that's a really good looking car. And so it's not just me or, you know, a few people. I think most people agree this is a really good looking car. And you know, that's a nice thing to know, that, you know, you're driving a car that is really good looking, and you know, just kind of sweetens the whole deal. It drives really well and it looks really well too. It's got everything. And the power. Let's not forget the power in this thing. It just rips. I love it. And after a week, it still hasn't gotten old. I mean, there's times, especially low speed turn-in, where it almost feels like it has four-wheel steering. It's that sharp on turn-in, and the chassis is that lively that it's just phenomenal. The brakes are great, the balance is great, it just... but it still will step out on you a little bit, and it'll give you that edge, that exciting edge that, you know, you only get with rear-wheel drive, and it's really just so much fun on back roads and just in general daily driving. It's just so good. But I mean, the steering weight is so perfect and so sharp and precise, and just you point and shoot, and it's trying to step out on me a little bit there, and it's just, oh man, it's just so good. It's such a good car. I'm telling you what, this is one of the best sports sedans I've ever driven, if not the best. You know, it's just so good. I love it. And if the standard V-Sport is this good, I can't wait to see how good the actual CTS V is going to be. That thing is just going to be mind-blowing, I think. If you're looking at a sports luxury sedan, you need to be looking at this car. You really do. It's way better than I think it's gotten credit for. It's really just such a dynamic and fun and exciting vehicle to drive. So anyway, huge thanks to Cadillac again for providing me with this awesome press car to review for you guys today. And let me know what you think about the CTS V-Sport. I'll be really curious to hear what you guys all think about this. So but thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.